and a lot of carnal or physical things have to manifest and take place around us, but we have to prophesy these things. That's the job of the prophet. It tells you that in Jeremiah 28:8. It says that prophesy. Matter of fact, get that verse.
Because at the end of the day, we're in the flesh. So there's a certain level of carnality that has to come because we're in the flesh.
And this fight is going to get physical. It says that in Jeremiah 16:16, the Lord is going to call fishers. Because right now, what? We're fishing men, bringing men into the pasture, bringing men into His truth. And things will actually turn for men that were highly spiritual. Paul, Peter, James, John, teaching the scriptures. And you had carnal individuals that were looking to get in physical stuff. So it was still a back and forth battle between the spirit and the carnal at the end of the day. And that's what we, the time that we live in now. You got that?
Yeah, this is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old.
And this is Jeremiah speaking in Babylon, which they actually were taken to Babylon in a carnal aspect. They actually got physically taken to Babylon, but while they were in that physical captivity, their whole job was to preach liberation, preach the truth, and utilize the best weapon they had, which is the knowledge.
It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms.
So a prophet, a man of the Lord, his sole job is to prophesy against kingdoms and countries. See?
It says,
switch back.
And against great kingdoms of war,
which is what? So prophets prophesy about carnal things, carnal events that's going to take place. When we speak about Armageddon, when we speak about the Valley of Jehoshaphat, when we speak about missiles, when we speak about World War II, all these are carnal things. But where are they located? In the scriptures. World War III, where it says the third woke, all these different missiles dropping, all these are located in the physical men have to actually collide and fight this battle. Get Zephaniah 3 and 8 real fast.
You got it, brother.
Alright, this is Zephaniah 3 and 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord.
Wait, and while we're waiting, what do? Prophesy, going back to Jeremiah 28 and 8. See?
Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey.
And who's the prey? The other nation. Alright, starting off with the so-called white man. Because even when Yahweh Shah comes back, which we'll go into that in Esdras, the Lord is going to come back and get carnal. It speaks about him coming back and shedding blood upon men. He's not just going to come and talk and come with peace, the spirit of peace through oration. Yeah, he did that before. He came as a humble sheep. He's going to come back as a lion. Young lion, tearing the flesh of kings. That's why it says in Revelations he's going to have on his head many crowns to take down what? Many nations. See?
It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms.
And to gather is basically to corral. He's corralling all these nations to what? The Middle East. It tells you that in Joel, how all these different nations, you got Iran, you got America, you have China, Russia, all these different nations are going to come together to fight a physical war. And it's going to take place in the setting which the Lord already predetermined, which is the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Yahweh Shabbat in the Hebrew, which means Yahweh's judgment, or Armageddon. The word Armageddon goes into the Hebrew word Armageddon, which is the mustering or the gathering of the troops. And when troops gather together, when you have one side of troops, mountain of troops, which is mountains is the government. When you have two sides of troops coming together to collide, what are they going to do? They're going to fight. So the Lord is pushing and putting the spirit on kings to actually fight a carnal battle.
It says, continuing on, it says, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation,
right?
Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy.
And what's that fire? Talking about the missiles and the lasers from the chariots. Because when you read the Bible, the Lord, when he comes back, he's not going to come back on a cloud. It speaks about in the Bible a chariot. And that chariot is what the world actually in modern day calls a UFO. Unidentified flying object, an object that they actually they don't have access to. That's why it says unidentified. There hasn't been a UFO that actually landed on Earth that the so-called white man has looked, inspected, and did his research to say, okay, this is so and so. This type of technology, this is
Say no X-Files shit.
yeah, X-Files, all this, BS, what minerals actually come together to create this type of instrument. So they say it's unidentified. And these same identified flying objects are going to make war with what the world knows as the so-called white man and the other nations. And it tells you that right there, Zephaniah the 3rd chapter.
So, how do you, so as prophets of God, how do you say fight against the false prophets?
How do we fight against the false prophets? The same way we fight against all these individuals through this word, through the truth. Because the false prophet is what? Their main and primary job is to teach deceit and lies and trickery, right? So to dispel that falsehood is to tell our people the truth and the righteousness. But it's up to our people to actually receive the truth or not. If they don't want to hear the truth, hey, what did the Lord say? If the blind follow the blind, both shall fall into the ditch.
Because real quick before you bring that out, because at the end of the day in the scriptures, it's prophesied that 2/3 of our people aren't going to get it. So that's already. So again, we're not looking to wake up the whole nation. We're looking, as the saying goes, we're only looking for a few good men. So again, like with the false prophets, they have their place. They're set up to mislead the rejects.
Yeah.
And that sounds harsh, but that's what the 2/3 are. They were rejected, as it says in Hosea the 4th chapter 4 and 6. They were rejected by the Lord, so they have their place. We're not worried about. Really, it's getting to a point where we're not even rebuking false prophets. Right.
And so, how do you characterize the rejects?
How do you characterize them? You
Yeah.
characterize them in Zechariah 13. Because the Bible characterizes and puts names on what they call rejects, reprobates. Matter of fact, get what's that? Jeremiah 6 and 30. Reprobate silk. We'll read that Jeremiah first, and then we'll get that in Zechariah. Because this is about, if you're familiar with the Bible, it speaks about an elect. The word elect goes into electos, which means chosen. The Lord has a peculiar and a particular chosen that's going to come from the house of Israel. And to have a chosen, like say for instance, I'm pretty sure you've seen the movie Willy Wonka, right? When they gave those golden tickets out to a few individuals that actually had access to go to Willy Wonka's factory, they were chosen, right? So that means it had to be people that were unchosen. You have to have chosen, unchosen, you have to have selected, you have to have rejected. You got that?
Jeremiah 6 and 30. Reprobate silver shall men call them because the Lord has rejected them.
Right, so the Lord has individuals that are rejected. You ever put in the wrong like a DVD? Same thing as you put a PS4 CD and an Xbox. What's gonna happen? Right when you put it in, it's gonna shoot right back out. Slide right back over. It's not gonna process in. You're not gonna be able to play the game, and that's 2/3 of our people that's looking to come into this truth. No matter what they do, the Lord is not gonna actually allow them to come in because they've been chosen to be 2/3, and it's not our job to actually say that you're 2/3, you're 1/3. Now we have the word to discern, because it says that if somebody rejects the word, out of 2 or 3 admonitions reject. But there is going to be a lot of individuals that's going to wake up in these latter days, and our primary job is to push out this word and basically what the word calls as a seed, push this truth out and see who's the ears and like it says, who that has ears to hear, let them hear. Whoever can understand it can get it.
And the voice is nigh to my sheep.
And yet there is a way for those rejects to receive salvation.
No.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, whosoever.
the thing is with 2/3 dealing with the 2/3, the ones that's fully rejected, no. But there is some individuals that actually, like us, we were all rejects. Like it says, we were all once foolish. We all didn't have the knowledge, but the Lord woke us up. But it all still divides down to the line of 2/3 and 1/3. If you're 2/3, if you're selected, predestined to be a 2/3, you cannot be a 1/3. If you're pre-selected or predestined to be a 1/3, which the 1/3 would in these days be waking up to the knowledge or still pending to wake up to this, and they will be doing this work. And if you're of the 1/3, then you can't be the 2/3. That's just how the Lord.
And no matter what you do in life.
Yep. Now, eventually, all the 2/3 that are rejected, they are going to be saved. They are going to come back. But their judgment is because that's just like the judgment we were talking about earlier about the nuclear fire. The ones that are rejected now, they're going to die and be destroyed in that fire. But they're going to come back.
You see the 1/3.
They're going to come back through right, the seed of the 1/3. Okay, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth. So when the 1/3, the chosen elect are saved, and the 2/3 that is rejected of our people that's rejected and they die in nuclear destruction, they're going to be reborn again. They're going to be reincarnated in the kingdom. They're going to be reincarnated as the 1/3 children.
And they'll be righteous then.
And they're going to be righteous, and that's going to be their point of salvation. But for now, like the brother explained, they're rejected, so they got to go through the harsh judgment.
Good night.
This more so pertains like to, you can say like us. It says Romans 15 and 27, it says they have pleased me verily, and their debtors they are. For if the Gentiles have been made partakers of their spiritual things, their duty is also to minister unto their carnal things. So I just want to bring that out because he said, how can the rejects come back? The brother said the rejects can't because they're now we once were kind of in that state of mind as a Gentile, like not knowing, whatever, doing things like 2/3. But it wasn't written for us to be in that mind. So
And he stirred up our peers.
That's the way of remembrance.
Right. It said it made partakers of the spiritual things. We once were Gentiles, now we're partaking in the spiritual. Therefore, we're now a Gentile or quote unquote a reject.
Yeah, and that's why we say our primary job is just to teach this word, and who this truth falls on is who it falls on at the end of the day. You know, we don't have the say so on, okay, you're going to be awoken, you're going to be the elect, you're the elect, you're not the elect. That's all up to the Heavenly Father. It says in the scriptures, it says that the angels are going to be the reapers in the last days. They're going to, when they gather, they're going to, they have the discernment, they have the spiritual eyes to see, okay, he's of the elect, he's of the elect, he's of the elect, he's not of the elect. And it says that the elect, the 144,000, and Revelations, the chosen are going to be delivered, and the unchosen are not going to be delivered. We've been in national team. You got that, Zechariah 13? Yeah, 13.
This is Zechariah chapter 13 and 8. It says it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off from God.
Right, so you have the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You have the Negroes that come from Judah all the way down to the Latinos that stem from the tribe of Issachar, the Mexicans and the other Latin tribes, the Native Americans also. We're all Israelites, correct? We're all the princes of the power. But you have of our nation men that don't want to embrace this truth. They follow and worship other gods, Islam. They're fully indoctrinated in Christianity, Catholicism, so on and so forth. And in the scriptures, they're known as 2/3, the ones that don't want to come back to this knowledge. And when this plagues take off, and when judgment actually takes place, get that Ezekiel 9 and 4. When judgment takes place, it's going to be a lot of our people that's going to die. And here's a pie chart to represent how many of our people are going to die from the nation of Israel. If this is 100% of the nation of the Negroes, Latinos, the Israelites that come from the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, then this much of the Israelites will be killed.
In this land.
Will be destroyed in this land.
Yep.
All right? That's why it's 2/3, which is the mass majority of the nation of Israel. And then you have right here the 1/3, which those are going to be the ones, and the brother's going to continue to read, that's going to be delivered and it's going to receive salvation. And what does it say? 144,000 that is written in Revelation, the 7th chapter, which you have what? 12 tribes. And it's going to be 12,000 from each tribe that's gonna fully make up this 144,000 number. You understand what I'm saying?
And the brothers just say, like, in this land, so when it says that in all the land, I speak it specifically here. So it says 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die,
Yep.
but the third shall be left therein.
But the third shall be left therein. Continue.
Verse 9, and I will bring the third part through the fire.
Right, so the Lord said he's going to bring the third part through the fire, meaning it's going to be a fire that's going to come and that's going to eradicate this place. And in the midst of that eradication, there's going to be deliverance. There's going to be a savior, all right, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. All right, if you're familiar with the scriptures in Acts, the 1st chapter, the Lord got caught up in the cloud, right? And when the disciples, they seen the Lord get caught up, they had 2 angels that were amongst the disciples, and they said, marvel ye not. Basically, the same individual that got caught up, he's going to come back in like so manner. And when the Lord, whom the world calls Jesus Christ, which we know in the Hebrew tongue to be Yahweh Shah, when he comes back, he's going to come back to deliver the elect, the Israelites that's doing the work, that's still pushing out the truth of the Bible, and that's doing the work, holding their posts and like the scripture says, the ones that stood so stiffly for the name of
That's
who Yahweh Shah.
That's who praying to Paul about getting for them now with Stephen did the same thing about Paul.
Yep.
Yeah, Paul was getting stoned.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the Lord died for your best.
That's right. And it's all for the elect's sake. Yep. Go with that.
All right, it says Zechariah 13:9, and I will bring the third part through the fire. It will refine them as the silver is refined.
And the word refine is basically make them fine back. Like if you have fine china or you have some type of fine, let's deal with gold, for instance. To deal with gold and to purify gold and to keep it from, to remove the sediments and the filth from gold, what do? You take it through the fire, dealing with what? What we said before, you have silversmiths, you have goldsmiths. Their primary job is a term known as smelting. They melt the gold down and they take all the uncleanness out of the gold and they
repackage it
and re-put it back together, and you have pure gold. That's why you have people that wear 12 carats, 10 karat gold, all these different carats. And the Lord is comparing that to us as a nation. Why? Because we're a very filthy nation. Waking up to the knowledge, you don't know about the truth. What's promoted in our nation? Drugs, prostitution, adultery, filth, and we all partook in it. Whether one or another, whether you was a thief, whether you was on drugs, sold drugs, all of us fell under one of these categories.
Following other idols.
Following other idols. So the Lord, he's refining us now, you see? And when the deliverance comes, the Lord is like, read that over, matter of fact.
It says, Zechariah 13:9, and I will bring the third part through the fire. And will refine them as silver is refined.
Refine them as silver is refined. So, and the refinery starts now. How are we making ourselves fine over? Through listening to this word. Because this word is what? A cleansing agent. The more we listen to the word, the more we actually come into this truth, we're actually receiving what the scriptures refer to as the baptism.
Yep.
Like right now, if you're taking heed unto this word and really soaking it in, this is the starting of your baptism. But you have to continue to absolve yourself, get deeper and deeper, and fully embed yourself in the word, and that's the fullness of the baptism.
If I may, because we're reading in Zechariah 13:9, that fire, the Lord is about to bring his selected in his refinery. The refinery, you literally look it up, the refinery is where you refine substances. We are the Lord's substance. We are literally the Lord's spoil, which is booty, because when you read in Jeremiah 31:11, I think, it talks about the ransom of the Lord. When you go into the word ransom, it means a spoil. So we're just going into a refinery now.
And that refinery is spiritual. It's spiritual and physical, because we're being spiritually refined right now, and then physically being pulled out of the fire when those missiles get dropped. That the 1/3 shall be pulled out of it at that point.
Pulled out. See?
It says, and we'll try them as gold is tried.
Yeah, we'll try them as gold is tried, which the first ones that's getting tried is the ones that's standing the vanguards for the truth now. The ones that's representing Because right now, we're still being tried. We're still being tempted, tested by the elements daily, prophesying week in and week out, in season, out of season. Continue.
It says, and it will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them.
Yeah, and it tells you in Isaiah how the Lord is going to set altars in Jerusalem. This represents the church right here. And what are we doing? We're sacrificing ourselves, sacrificing our time to preach the word of the truth, representing the Bible in the midst of individuals that actually don't believe in the scriptures. Because you got individuals that could come up in the midst and argue with us, try to debate us and downplay the facts of the scriptures. And what are we going to do? We're going to defend the scriptures. And we putting our lives on the line out here, you know. You had individuals that got locked up for this word, individuals, our forefathers that died for this word on the streets, all right? And we're still doing that which our forefathers commanded us to do, which is to prophesy this Bible, man. So it's still, the trying, the testing, all these things are still going on right now.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 5. And ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned. The inventions of them that now sin returned, the inventions of what's going on. And that wicked heart, since the time of Adam.
Yeah, it said the Lord made man upright, but they sought out many inventions. Meaning we basically dipped and dabbled with all things of the world.
Yeah.
But this is now the time to turn back. Because we see where sin landed us. It landed us to the bottom, man. We're literally in hell. This is the worst condition that our people have ever been in the history of Israelites. We're in the ghettos, we're impoverished. Even this fentanyl, drug, opioid addiction, it's hitting our people too, man. The crack epidemic, AIDS, STDs, and all these different sicknesses, poverty. Our people are being hit on all levels, man.
That's sorrow.
Yep. And because ultimately we broke the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. But the Lord gave us opportunity. He gave us like I said, with all temptations, He'll give you a way to escape. This is the way that we can escape, man.
That's right.
Through listening, taking heed unto the word, praying, gathering ourselves together, as the scripture says also. And in the coming times, we'll receive salvation and be hold fast unto the end.
It says before they were sealed, that have gathered faith for a treasure.
Before they was what?
Before they were sealed.
See, we're not sealed right now, but our job is to do what?
That have gathered faith for a treasure.
That have gathered faith for a treasure. The scriptures speak about storing up your treasures. So right now, our main job is to do what? Gather faith for a treasure. We need this faith. As well as wisdom, as well as knowledge, you know, as well as brotherly kindness, all these righteous elements, because all these righteous inputs or righteous treasures of the spirit that the Lord is putting onto us is going to transfer to the next side, man, to the kingdom of heaven.
That's right, brother.
You see?
I got to put something because you said in there we're not sealed.
Yeah.
You know, that's whenever Christians say, "I'm saved," that's the proudest thing you can ever say. Well, let's hear what Paul said to the Philippians. Philippians 3:12, and the point is in 13. It says, "Not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if I may apprehend that which also I am apprehended of the Mashiach." Okay, verse 13, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended." He ain't saved yet. He hasn't been abducted yet. That's pretty much all Paul is saying right now. I'm not sealed yet. You know? It says, "But this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High Yahushua Mashiach." And that prize and high calling is get up out of here. Get out of these chains of darkness. That's when you're on a chariot, that's when you're sealed. You know what I'm saying? So, but Paul was saying right there that he wasn't sealed. He's like, I count not myself to be apprehended.
Humble.
And that's
Very
right. It tells you that in Matthew the 24th chapter, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. We haven't reached the end yet.
Yep.
We're still working out our own salvation. Not one of us brothers know for a shadow of a doubt that we're of the elect. That's why we say of the hopeful elect.
Even Yahushua said,
There's none good.
Hey.
confidence does build, and your confidence should build, meaning confidence with faith. It should build as you further along get into this, like, okay, I really believe the Lord's working with me, but at the same time, I'm still 10 toes down in Babylon. So come to a true state of humility and recognize, man, we still don't know what spirit we actually. You don't know who these men are. You don't even know what spirit you are. You don't know if you're dealing with.
Shit, you could be an agent and don't even know it.
Not even know it. You really don't. You just don't know, but you have to move in
Like,
a
goddamn.
state of humility. That's why the Lord said in Matthew 11:28, take my yoke and learn of me. I am low and meek. That's the same thing how Paul described in Philippians, the 2nd chapter. Being low-minded, no reputation. You got to take on that true state of humility.
Yeah, the greater thou art, the more humble thou shalt be.
Zechariah 13:9, and I will bring the dirt part through the fire, and the refining that silver is the fire, and I'll try them as gold to try.
And the silver refinery is a process, man. When you dealing with gold and silver and all these different precious elements, that takes steps. And it's the same thing now. All these things that we're going through is the process it takes to receive salvation. It's not just, all right, we're just gonna do this one thing. We're gonna come out here one week and we're gonna read, and salvation is gonna come and drop them down. No, it's a lot of steps that it takes. It's a lot of temptations. It tells you in Sirach, the 2nd chapter, one of the books of the Bible, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare your soul for temptations. Meaning hell is gonna be your way, man.
Well, every 2nd Ezra chapter 7 says we should go. If we should not enter into those great and vain things, then we will get the kingdom of heaven.
Yep.
So we're subject under vanity. You're gonna go off automatically, but the Lord still says
It's the spirit, because Romans 7. I remember I said it under my breath to that brother. Romans 7:14 says we're sold under sin.
Yeah.
We're still under this.
Yeah, we're in this flesh. That's why the law is. That's why really we're not under the law. Because if we were bound by the law, we would all be finished, man.
Yeah, there wouldn't be one person that would be delivered. That's why we're under grace. Because we sin daily and we understand that.
Sin with your thoughts.
Yeah, you sin through thoughts, sin through action, when you eat. That's why Paul said, "Oh, wretched man that I am, who shall save me from this sinful flesh?"
And that was then.
That was then. You would think men were dang near perfect back then. Paul said he was a Pharisee of Pharisees. So like, you can think like, dang, how did Paul go off?
Romans 7 just cuts. He cut himself.
Cut himself.
He wrote about the tribulation.
And that was a foreshadowing of what people to go through in these days now.
Yeah, Jake didn't have all types of what am I trying to say? Avenues of lust. You know, it was only like, you had your, you pull your phone out your pocket now, man. It's some chick right now somewhere shaking that ass, man. And she probably got a man. You know what I'm saying? But back then, man, you had to, Jake had to really kind of had to sneak to another neighboring city. They throw the mantle on, look around.
Looking like some from Assassin's Creed, man.
You know?
Yeah, like now, like the brother said, nowadays, it's so convenient to actually.
All right, peace, bro.
That's why it's so hard, even in this flesh, and we know that we sin daily. And that's why it all goes back to the same point that we need a Savior.
Yep.
That's why we pray. That's why we have to be humble in this thing. Because how can you even be proud in these times now? Just think about in this weekend. We really could actually get a diagnosis of what was in our food, what we ate this week. We probably ate hella pork, man.
We probably ate a few bodies.
A few bodies.
Probably ate a person. You probably ate human.
Feces. You probably done broke all 600 commandments this week, man. Not even on.
There's nothing to be proud about, man.
Sin in Romans chapter 10, verse 4, it says, the Lord came to fulfill the law and to heal the weakness and position of the sick, not the whole.
Beautiful.
That's it, man.
And understanding that you should want to be under the bar of those individuals like back then. the ones that were sick, the ones that were lame, they were directly running to Yahushua. They were grabbing the hem of Yahushua. That was the ones that embraced Yahushua closer. But the ones that was fully straight and wrong, they ain't give a
That was the baby.
They didn't care about the Savior. Saved from what? They're like, shit, I'm cool on my taxes. You know?
I got women.
Cherry nice. Yeah, at the drop of a down there in Ephesus partying. They really didn't like the prophet because the prophets were interrupting all the
Party poopers.
Party poopers, yeah. Yeah, that's about the prophet.
In the book of Ecclesiastes, it talks about, it says, learn before you speak and use physic if thou be sick. You are all sick and you need that physician. We're all sick.
All head is sick.
Yeah. What is that? Malachi 4 tells us that the Lord is coming with healing in his wings. You know, because that's what we all need, man. And then two, okay, so let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you are that perfect person. Let's just say you are perfect. Our nation's not. You know, our nation's not. So therefore, what is it saying in the world? You're only as strong as your weakest link. So the person that man or that woman that's that downtown that's sleeping under a bridge, that's a depiction of us. That's a part of you.
It's a reflection. Right. So that's why even, you know, we're working towards perfection. And in full perfection, you're only as great as your nation. Your nation reflects your, like, when we were perfect as a people, the highest form of perfection was during the time of Solomon.
Right.
Because what? You had a king that was damn near perfect. You had the ones around him that was basically split image of the king. You had the Queen of Sheba. She came to Solomon's house and thought the servants were actually actually King Solomon because they were so decked out. So it shows you how high of a nation we were back then. And yeah, and that was the time of the peace. Was it 40 years of peace during Solomon? You got the Luke 1.
This is Luke 1 and 68. Blessed be the Lord, power of Israel. Now this is Luke 1 and verse 66. And all they that heard them laid them up in their hearts, saying, what manner of child shall this be? In the hand of the Lord was with him. His father, Zechariah, was filled with the Holy Spirit and prophets, saying, blessed be the Lord, power of Israel.
So blessed be the Lord, power of Israel. Keep going.
For he hath visited and redeemed his people.
For he hath visited and redeemed his people. The word redeemed, re is back, and redeemed goes into purchase. And how did the Lord redeem his people? By raising up saviors. And before he actually raised up the Savior, Yahushua, he raised up John the Baptist. Which John the Baptist's primary job was to do what? Bring the fathers back unto the sons and the sons back unto the fathers. Married.
Right.
Because back then what? We were orphans. We fell from the adoption, or we fell from actually the commandments. We were castaways, outcasts, foreigners. We were driven by foreign lusts, and we were in other captivities. And pretty much we got settled. Because during the time of Maccabees, you had Antiochus or Antiochus Epiphanes and the Grecian rule that was Hellenizing the whole world. And when they Hellenized the world, after Greece fell and Rome came into power, majority of people were still under that Hellenization.
Right.
That's why you have Hellenistas, and it's another term. Or you have Grecian, and you have Greek scriptures. And one goes into basically following Greek customs fully, and not knowing you're an Israelite. Yeah, which is Greek, but Hellenista, Helen and Hellenista. And then one was basically you're living in that area, but you know that you're an Israelite.
Right.
And majority of our people, they fell under the custom of Greece fully. They wore the Greek garbs. They were, they were
Uncircumcised.
Uncircumcised. Their fathers were probably hoplites, which were basically the Greek equivalent of a centurion. They was in the Greek armies. They were in the watching stadium fights. And,
Like Titus' father.
Coliseums and things, all that. They was fully in it. The theatricism of Greece, they was fully absorbed in it. And that type of darkness leaked over to generations after. And how many generations did it to destroy your nation fully? It's only a few generations.
Yeah.
Because after you cut off
The old.
huh?
Once you cut off the old,
Yeah, once you cut off the old, the after generations after, they start fighting, they start resisting, they get settled. So that's when Yahweh Shah had to come, and John the Baptist, these righteous men had to come and wake up Israel and tell them, get the hell up out of that mindset of Greece, get out of that mindset of
The elect. The elect came back. The 12 disciples, that's going to be the 12 of Yahweh Shah, 1/3.
could we get 2 Corinthians 12?
Just keep on that though. Let the brother.
Second,
That you were Gentiles. 2 Corinthians 12 and I think 12 and 2 or 12 and 1. You were once Gentiles.
Yeah, it's powerful too. All these different words mean different things. Like to be a Gentile and a heathen, that's two different things. Gentile is a foreigner, but you can be a foreigner from actually living in foreign lands, which that's why Israel was sometimes known as foreigners in the scriptures. But they knew that they were Israelites, so they were still called. But they were still, and to a certain degree, Gentiles. And then you had individuals that was totally foreign from their national. They didn't even believe that they were Israelites. Like you have like individuals that's foreigners, foreign exchange students, meaning they're far off. And then you have the term heathen, which the word heathen means country dweller. And a lot of our people are natural heathens because when they were living in other countries, in most cases, if you're a heathen or you're a country dweller, you dwell from country to country. You start to take on other countries' customs.
Speak the language, eat the food.
Exactly.
this is 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. It says, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
It says, you know that you were us Gentiles carried away from these dumb idols, even as you were led. So we were led astray by other nations, and we follow other gods. And when you read all throughout the Bible, our people started to get a strong attachment to those idols. Ashtaroth, Baal, those were two top idols that our people worship back in the day, and they still worship it today.
Yep, Queen of Heaven.
The Queen of Heaven, Semiramis. And it's funny because our people still keep these same customs unto this day. That's how we know these scriptures to be true. Ashtaroth, it tells you that our people follow Ashtaroth. And today, they're still following Ashtaroth in the Feast of Easter. Which Easter, what month is that?
April.
Easter is going to come up. And let's see how many Negroes are going to...
Well, we don't even got to go that far. Let's go next weekend. What is it? Next Friday's the February 14th. Valentine's Day goes into Tammuz.
Yep, Tammuz.
That goes into Tammuz worship. So
And woman worship.
yeah.
Basically. You're basically giving your all to your woman, hearts and kisses, all this BS, basically bowing down for the validity of a damn woman. So our people are still keeping that same custom today, and that's the job of the prophets, to reattach them to that which was detached onto them, which is this truth. You got some more?
Luke 1 and 68. Blessed be the Lord power of Israel, for they have for us in the house of his servant David.
For us in the house of his servant David. And who was that? Yahweh Shah. Because Yahweh Shah did come out of the loins of the line of David, which was a seed of man through Joseph. Joseph and Mary had sex, and they had this the prophet, the man of the heavenly Father, the only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah. And his sole job was to reattach us back unto the Spirit of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
The sick, the lame, the ones that were being looked down upon by the federal government at that time, the Romans, the ones that were being heavily taxed and accused falsely, crucified, killed, imprisoned, beat, banned. All these things was happening. It's happening unto this day, man.
That's right.
When you look around, every time you cut on the internet, it's some Negro that's getting the living hell beat out of him by the police, shot down. I was looking on the internet. I think some Jake just got tased by the police. I think like 12 times. You know, Overkin. You got this one that I think got shot at the police by like 100 times, 88 times. You can look it up. The man. He was shot at by the police like 100 times.
Yeah, Sean Bell in New York, in Queens.
How many times they shot at him?
Like 100 times. It was a day before his wedding. He was in a strip club. I had just moved to New York when that happened too.
100 times.
Yeah.
See, that's what's going on with our people, and that's why Yahweh Shah actually, that's why Yahweh Shah came to redeem us as a nation. You know, you got really the elect. You can some more on that.
God, verse 70, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
Yeah, see, which have been since the world began. We got that scripture. Timothy.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 1 and 9. I start at 8. It says, but we know that the law is good. If a man use it lawfully, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient.
Yeah, and that's why the Lord didn't come for the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees, because they were self-proclaimed righteous. They looked at themselves as being perfect when it concerned the law. John the 3rd chapter, Nicodemus, which he was known as the doctor of the law. And the Lord was cutting him left and right. He made Nicodemus look like a babe when it came to the spirit, because he was a babe.
Yep.
And he was inquisitive, but when it came to the literature,
The spirit of.
when it came to the basic criteria, the precept upon precept and all these things, these men knew those things. Like the Pharisees, they were bad when it came to that. The technicalities.
It was their job.
Yeah, it was their job. Yeah. But when it came to the spirit, they couldn't stomach that part.
That's why, they were like, when Yahweh Shah, they were like, well, they couldn't understand, like, where did he learn this from? What schooling did he have? Because they were all about that. And our people are, that's what our people are. That's why they scoff at us. Because what our people have, they have this understanding that, you gotta, what school did you go to? They expected us to say that I went to Harvard Theology School or some crazy shit. No, man, we learned ours straight from the school of Great Millstone. The University of Great Millstone.
Hey, and dealing with scribes and Pharisees, that's why the Lord said, do as they say, not as they do.
Good point.
Yeah, because even Paul was taught by top Pharisee, Gamaliel. But still, Paul was missing out on a lot of the spirit. And he had to be introduced into the spirit to actually fully get on a highly spiritual level.
Apollos. Was it Apollos too? He was out there teaching.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
And who was it that took him in and showed him?
Ananias and no.
Feet.
No. Not the ones that died.
Feet.
Aquila and Priscilla.
Aquila and Priscilla.
Because they were tent makers also. And they basically had the same occupation, and they was dealing in the spirit thing.
I got the scripture too.
Oh, hold that. Matter of fact, you go ahead and get it. That's good.
John chapter 7, verse 15. And the Jews marveled, I'm starting 14. Now about the midst of the feast, Yahushua went up to the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying,
And it wasn't just anybody that could just go in that temple and teach them scriptures, man. You're dealing with individuals. Their primary job is to they get paid to actually teach. They wasn't just get
right.
But when they were over that administration, they would get compensated for that. So they had to know what they're talking about. They had to actually be very, very in tune with the context of those scriptures.
It was their life.
It was their life.
It was their life.
And they were dedicated. There was a lot of men that was heavily dedicated, 27, 28 years dedicated to breaking those scriptures down. And Yahweh Shai, at a young age, was in the temple teaching those scriptures.
Speaking with authority. Speaking with authority,
just
man.
Somebody how old was he? 12. Just think of somebody 12 years old coming in the temple, breaking these things down in Isaiah.
This was after 2 saying like he ain't on. Let him talk.
Slipping, and Yahweh Shai was, eloquent with it, super wise. That's why I said that the Jews are marveled.
Damn.
Wisdom and stature.
And the Jews marveled, saying, "How knoweth this man letters?"
So they over there like, how the hell he know? How you know the scriptures? How you know? How you know how to break them down like that? Because the word letters go into basically grammar, literature. Because when you're dealing with grammar, when you in language arts,
It's an art.
it's an art. It's
Language arts.
Getting into the specifics of the linguistics of it, and your Howard Shaw was getting deep in it. That's what the law going into. And we said all these things written concerning me. Because all these things Yahweh Shah was breaking down to the Israelites back then to show how it actually represented him. Even Paul, when Paul started teaching in the spirit of things, he was going all the way back to Melchizedek with all those things. When you read about Melchizedek and all these things, you don't understand the spirituality behind the tent and all these different things. Paul was going into it. Abraham actually receiving, giving him a tent. And even with Romans, when Paul was going into the uncircumcision, how Abraham received the blessing still being uncircumcised, and that actually received a greater hope for the ones that was under the uncircumcision to receive circumcision, because Abraham was known as faithful in his uncircumcision. Yeah, he was getting deep with it though.
That's why one of the heaviest books is the book of Hebrews, because the Hebrews, they already had a foundation. He didn't have to teach. It's like he didn't have to teach him, "Oh, you're an Israelite, and I gotta feed you carnality." He just went into heavy things, man, because they already had a foundation of being Israelites.
They was already on the level, so he was like, "All right, the level y'all think y'all on, take it in the spirit of things." Man. So I'm gonna go all the way back.
Man.
The Genesis of things. I'm gonna go back to the Exodus of things. And, he even went into that with Corinthians. That all did eat and drink. It was under the cloud, and that cloud was Yahweh Shah. So it was like, these guys, they heads were spinning back.
Broke down faith.
They probably hearing it from Peter already too.
Yep.
Jerusalem, so
Got away from the animal sacrificing.
Yeah.
Taught about faith. Because they were into the law, like how you would say they were professionals, or they dealt with the law professionally. You got to think, like, imagine if we came under the law at 12. Our parents was already molding us for that, but prior to that, like, I got a daughter, so I'm already, she already knows already, although she's not under the law, she knows, we don't eat pork, we don't eat shellfish, she knows about Yahweh Shai, she knows about Yahweh, you know what I'm saying? That's prepping them by the time that they reach 12, shit, imagine 12 to 25, 30, you've been keeping the law, man, you that's second nature.
Oh yeah.
And that's the cut too, because he is the salvation, because you got to go to the priest for sin.
That's why he said it. Then Yahweh Shah
Man.
out of the tribe of Judah, of whom not concerning the priesthood. So then, if you read that in the priesthood, like, how the hell is he a high priest and he didn't come out to see the Levi?
See the Aaron.
Hit him with the Melchizedek thing. Before there was a seed of Levi, you had Abraham, that Levi came out of his loins. Before his loins, he's paying attention.
Man.
Yeah, he was more, that's why they wanted to kill those men, man. Because when they was going into the scriptures, they was basically going into a whole nother literature that they couldn't even see in the book. They was reading it, and they went over the book so many times, but how they was going to, like Yahweh Shah said, before Abraham was, I am. And he said, your father would have rejoiced to see me this day. There ain't no way.
Yeah. Yo.
Iakim and Akbar and Safan and Isaiah went unto Huldah,
I said unto the Lord,
the wife of Shalom, the son of Tikva, the son of Haras, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college. Going to college, it means repetition. So really, like, Esau will say, go to college. Really, if you're going to college, you're going to college and going to
Yeah.
To learn the law.
Yeah, even the top universities in well, we just stick to America. They're all private, religious-based universities. St. John's, Temple, Notre Dame. What's some other ones? Emory to a certain extent. I think Emory goes back to Oxford. You know, so Cambridge.
Right? It says printed by
Mhm.
Cambridge University Press.
Yep.
So like even so like go back. It says so now she dwelt in Jerusalem in college, and they communed with her. That's why when they went to Yahweh Shai, all these other Pharisees they went to the college.
Yeah.
No, like how are you? What?
That's why I
12
said,
years old.
how knows
Where'd
this
you
man
get
met us?
this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to go to college to get this. I had to really, because again, college needs repetition. I really had to repeat this over and over.
Late nights.
Late night, early morning.
And you're making me seem like I ain't did this.
Like a babe with this knowledge.
Right. They going back to the college, it was known as the House of Scrolls, because they would go in there and they would go over the law and learn the law. Like you said, that's that was their life. So they're going in there repeatedly, repetitively, learning the law, going over the scrolls. You know, then by the time someone like Yahweh Shai come on the scene, it's like, bro. That's why when Yahweh Shai was doing the miracle, it was like, ain't Joseph your daddy and Mary your mother, your mama, your brother, and your sisters?
They was getting humble something serious.
Like you ain't you not a son of God. You're not a leader, you're not a priest. Your dad is a carpenter. Your brothers are carpenters.
Like that scene in what was that, Transformers? Which one was it where he went to the university? You remember that scene? He went to the Shia LaBeouf, and he went to the university, and he started seeing the vision. And remember the guy? He was that proud professor in Transformers. And remember he went to the board. He's like, "Oh no, Einstein has it wrong." And he went on the board, and he was. And remember the professor was all like, "Listen, this is my world. You're in my universe. Get out," because he got humbled. So you can only imagine with the scribes and Pharisees, where you, like you said, you got this 12-year-old speaking with such authority, bringing out points that they couldn't touch. Ooh.
And you can tell, that's why even the Pharisees and Sadducees came together as a mutated group to come against Yahweh Shai.
We gotta kill him.
Yeah, kill him. They did have Sam, Sam Hain?
Yep.
They did have that government, which they did work together.
Sanhedrin.
Sam Hain, hallelujah.
They was in a Sam Hain spirit.
Yeah, it was Sam Hain. But yeah, you had the Sanhedrin, which I think it was a council of 70, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you had the 70 men, and they were over the government at that time. But for the most part, they didn't really deal with each other. They were still kind of like the Democrats and Republicans. They still kind of have enemy-like views, but they come together to represent the government. Okay, you got some more on that? Right under the Romans.
It says,
Wait, can I say one more point, please? Because like how you bringing it out. Yahweh Shai was cutting them up from the age 12 up until his death. That was years of them just getting chopped up in the spirit.
when he spoke, it was like clear,
Damn. I just thought about that. That's just a long time. Like, you imagine them scribes and Pharisees, they was probably losing their clout.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Losing their followers.
Jealous and envious.
Oh, it probably said that at the end when Yahweh was married. It was like when he was saying that he said he was going to raise up from the dead. Them chick that came with him, he even hired people to watch the cave. And showed them that that's what the Bible series was.
Ooh.
Rolling Stone, Romans came back, they fell.
I don't know about y'all. I'm glad to be on Yahweh Shai's team.
I know.
I'm glad to be on his team. Team Yahweh Shai, man. Word.
It says,
Ooh.
and the Jews marveled, saying, how does this man better?
Yeah, so how does this young man know these scriptures right there?
Having never learned.
Yeah, just like brother just found out. He ain't go to college. I ain't never seen him the house of wisdom. What you said, the house. I ain't seen him in the house of scrolls. He ain't been studying these scrolls like this.
Damn.
He's in their temple. We can go to the temple. He in their temple. He went to their home court, breaking these things down, cutting everybody up.
And the temple was big, man. Like, you know, our people try to equate the temple to, you know, First Baptist Church of Atlanta. No. The temple was like the center of Israel, man. That's why you had the different gates. You one gate will take you towards Rome, another gate will take you this way. It was the center point of Israel. So, you know, it was a lot of action. Like the temple is serious to us. Right.
Like what you see in a lot of these Bible movies, really they might just be somewhat really a lot of things don't really have to be around the temple.
You're right.
Just how big, you know what I'm saying? You thinking they went 4 miles away? No, they still in the courtyard.
And then Paul came to the temple. You know, that was the temple had to be destroyed because the temple was already spiritually destroyed by Yahweh Shai and Paul, really. Because even with Paul came on the scene, and what did he do? He brought in the whole idea of, the Gentiles could come in, and they wanted to kill him behind that.
The Lord doesn't deal with temples made with hands. That was revving up a lot of men. That was
What happened in the beginning of Acts? When Peter,
Yep.
the first thing, he was on the steps of the temple.
Oh yeah, it was the stuff.
The first camp.
And so, you know, he did a miracle right there.
Man.
That's the main famous scene in the
Ooh, man, y'all got me hyped in the spirit, man. Y'all got me hyped, man.
verse 16. Yahweh shall answer them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me.
They said, my doctrine is not mine, but him that sent me. So it wasn't a doctrine that they had could receive it, you know, by just studying. It was something that was divinely inspired by the Spirit. Somebody get John 1. When the Lord was coming up amongst those Pharisees, you had Pharisees that was getting choked up, man. And some Pharisees, they embraced it, they believed in Yahweh Shai, actually hearing it. They knew that this ain't just any man. He ain't just good at studying and good at reading and twisting scripture. This is divinely inspired by the Spirit of the Heavenly Father.
Because they moved them to the point that
And these are men that's supposed to represent the law. These were men, I think said that they was going to try to kill him and basically cover it up. Oh, well, when they hired Judas to sell Yahweh Shai, what happened? Judas received the shekels and he tried to give it back to the temple, back to the high priest. Yeah, they want to keep the law, they didn't want to touch it. Yeah, they said that's blood. They were personal with blood.
they want to get the outline of the 10 Commandments of the outline says, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery. Well, murder can come all types of ways because you got to plot to
Premeditated murder. And they knew those things, man. But they was getting cut so bad, and even in the background of the scriptures, the Romans were getting raped up. The Romans knew the uproars. They said that multitudes of men were being gathered upon the Christians daily. That whole sector of the Christians was taking off at that time, man. The Pharisees was getting cut up every time they was coming amongst them. They had those pivotal men, the 12, when they was coming, they already knew they was coming to bring damage, man.
But you know what that means? That means that things about to get real hot for the men of the Lord, man. Because man, if the temple was on fire back then, you're gonna imagine, and the temple's spiritual now. Man.
Yahweh Shai, rebuking the wicked scribes and Pharisees, he had spiritual powers, and they didn't.
Oh yeah.
He was healing people and.
Oh, but they had to say that Satan was dealing with him.
And they had to say he was goddamn. Like he was a devil.
That's what these niggas gonna say. Rockface and the gang. Rockface and the gang gonna say that when certain men get, they Satan dealing with them.
Don't worry about it. He healed up because he got demons anymore.
But that's dumb, man.
This is John chapter 3, verse 1. It says, there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews.
So this individual Nicodemus was a ruler of the Jews. Right? The word ruler goes into a measurement, meaning he was on a high level. Like you have the tool ruler is a measurement. So he set the precedent pretty high.
Yeah.
Dealing with the Jews when it came to the doctrine of the law, the understanding the literary.
He had the high score.
Yeah, he had the highest credits. You know,
This is a ruler in Greek. It's an archon, and it means a ruler, commander, chief, or leader.
Yeah, the word archon, that's where you get the word hierarchy. A high archon, an archer, which a hierarchy deals with what? Levels. He was the highest of the hierarchy amongst the Jews.
That's right.
Verse 2, it says, the same came to Yahushua by night. He said unto him, Rabbi.
So he had to pull up on him. Pull up on him at night. In most cases, more than likely he didn't want to be seen to actually come amongst Yahushua, but he was a Pharisee, he was of a certain sect, and it's like he's dealing with the Christians back then. Because you got to remember, even during the time of Peter was scared to get caught.
Yep, that's what was it. Galatians. Which chapter was that? Paul was cursing Peter out.
Galatians, the first chapter, I think. About what withstood Peter
Mm-hmm.
to his face. Because, matter of fact, I think it's Galatians, the first chapter.
The whole chapter designated to Paul cursing Peter out.
And you got to remember, Peter was a bad dude. When the Malchus came amongst Peter, Peter sliced his ear off. He was bad with the sword, and he was bold in the spirit. He said, "I'll die right beside you." You know.
It's very bold.
But those Pharisees, that was a tough sect. That wasn't just like just regular individuals. They were pretty raw too. So
And it,
they put a little bit of fear out there.
and then you had brought up the Sanhedrin, because the Sanhedrin was created like a solid. How many years before Yahushua came on the scene? It was a long time. It was some years in there. So they had plenty of time to develop their reputation. You know what I mean? Like imagine like this place over here has 50 years of open 50 years or whatever the case may be. So they had that many years of like reputability. You see what I'm saying? So the Sanhedrin had time to develop their stature in the land and their name and so on and so forth. So like you said, when Yahushua came on the scene, he was really that was a heavy battle in the spirit against that stronghold.
A lot of people relied on the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and a lot of those Pharisees and Sadducees, not all of them were wicked, but the majority of them were all about pushing the Roman government amongst the people.
That's right.
But you would read that real fast.
This is Galatians chapter 2, verse 11. But when Peter came to Antioch, I withstood him to the face because he was to be blamed.
Okay, so he was still to the face because he was to be blamed. Continue.
For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
He's like, oh shit. He was like, oh shit.
You seen them Jews? Oh man, I gotta get the hell on. And that's why Paul later on rebuked them. And we're gonna get that in.
He had that authority in that time.
Yeah, they had authority, and what they did, they used to deal with conspiracy.
Yep.
That was a conspiracy to actually get Yahushua charged with that, with destroying the temple. They claimed he was a terrorist, so they basically put terrorist charges upon Yahushua, and they took.
A Greek term transliterated into Hebrew and Aramaic and designating the supreme ecclesiastical court of Jews.
Which the word ecclesiastical means to call out. That's the other word. Yeah, summoning or assembly. Ecclesiasticus, Ecclesiastes.
It means sitting in council.
Sitting in council.
So it says, there is no reliable evidence, however, for the existence of the Sanhedrin prior to the Greek period, and the earliest specific mention of such a council.
Just like the captain said, it was probably like 50 plus years prior, really around the time of Greece. Because really around the time of Greece, also the Pharisees started to come into power, which we'll go into that another time. John Hyrcanus came from Simon of the Maccabees. And you see, during the time of the Greeks, corruption started to take place in the government, and it leaked over into the Roman government. That's why it was so wicked, because of the things that's why you gotta know the history to know all those things that was going on.
We didn't have no king.
Where the Pharisees came from, why it was so wicked, the Sadducees and the scribe corruption, because the scribes in the scriptures, they were really righteous men by nature back then, but there was so much corruption going on in Israel.
So it says, and the earliest specific mention of such a council occurs in connection with the regime of Antiochus the Great.
See, going back to Greece.
It says throughout its existence, the Sanhedrin was controlled by a Sadducean priestly or aristocracy with the high priest as president. In the New Testament period, leading lawyers and scribes of predominantly Pharisaic sympathies were also members of the Sanhedrin, and these persons no doubt challenged many of the proposals put forward by the Sadducean priests. This backs up what the book said. They came together, but there were still things that they had, contrary to each other. But eventually it came to a point where what they wanted to do. Well, this man, Yahweh Shah, is coming against everything. He knows the scriptures, he knows the law, he got spiritual power. We got to stop
Yeah, but enemy of my enemy is a friend to me.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that's that's,
Well,
that's
yes.
yeah. So we'll just go ahead and close with that in the spirit. We had a little bit more, but the spirit just popped on down. We're gonna end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem.